Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 13 of the Just One In podcast. My name is Elizabeth Zimmerman, but you can call me Liz. I am coming to you from Cochranville, Pennsylvania, where I live with my husband, Greg, our two children, Eric and Tilda, and our dog, Millie, who is hanging out behind the camera right now. So if you hear snorting or nails clicking or any of that, that's why. Today is Thursday, November 9th, which happens to be both the birthday of both my daughter, Tilda, who just turned 3, and my mom, who I won't tell you how old she turned. But happy birthday to both of them. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen some of the adventures that Tilda was up to today. So I am recording an episode a little bit later than I intended. This past week has been just kind of weird. Last week I took 3 days off. I took off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Tuesday was Halloween. Which I think was a great idea, and I'm going to do every year from now on, because Monday I just kind of relaxed. Tuesday I decorated the house for Halloween. I got the kids ready for trick-or-treating and didn't have to stress about having to fit it into my work schedule. And then Wednesday was just a recovery day, which was really nice. So I would definitely be doing that in future. But then Wednesday, I took the van. I drive a minivan. I'm proud of it. It's a nice minivan. But I took the van in because the brake light indicator had come on the dashboard. And I figured, my last day off before going back to work, I might as well just sit in a repair shop for a couple of hours and knit while I get it checked out. Plus, Pennsylvania inspection is done every year, so we can take it in for its inspection at the same time. So I did that, but it ended up being like a pretty huge repair. Brakes had to be, calipers had to be replaced, and there was a leak from tubing and whatever, tires. A couple of tires needed to be replaced. So I did sit there for a couple of hours and knit, so I'll show you the fruits of my labor there. But then basically after a couple hours, they called me over and they were like, let me tell you what's going on. And I was like, oh goodness, that's never a good sign. So we went through the whole layout of the bill and the estimate, and it was much higher than I would have liked, but whatever. So they gave me a loaner car, sent me home. They actually didn't end up finishing until the next day because they needed to wait for one of the parts. So it turned out to be more annoying way to end my vacation days than I had anticipated. And then to top it off, when we were looking at, finances to figure out where to take this large hit, I looked at our credit card statement and found 3 charges in the past 5 days. They scattered them every other day. Of over $200 each at Nordstrom Rack in Los Angeles. So I didn't buy anything at Nordstrom Rack in Los Angeles, and Greg says he didn't either, and I tend to believe him. So I called the credit card company and disputed it. So of course they closed the card immediately and sent us a new one. So now we've got that whole hassle to deal with. So, and we just went through this a couple of months ago. We found other fraudulent charges, something overseas. And closed the credit card, I think probably 5 or 6 months ago, not that long ago. So yeah, so that's no fun. But on the bright side, I did get a lot of crafting done on those 3 days that I was off. And I've done even more in the past few days. So yeah, it was kind of an up and down week. I'll try not to be too much of a downer about everything that happened. So hopefully that's all the negativity for now. But anyway, so I am recording this episode a little bit later than I intended, but earlier than 2 weeks later. So that's hopefully a good thing. I do have a giveaway winner to announce because the Hat-along ended on Halloween night. The day after, actually. It ended on November 1st. And I've got another giveaway to announce. I'm going to do one more giveaway before the end of the year. And then I think that'll be it for giveaways this year. And then we'll restart again next year. And then I've got a lot of crafting to share. So let's dig in with whips. I do not have any finished objects this week. I have been very scattered with my crafting. You'll notice there's actually a new cast on, a little bit of progress on a lot of things. So, so that's kind of the story of the week. So let me start with my new cast on. I cast this on literally today. I was in the mood to work on some socks. I'm working on a pair of socks for my sister, which you'll see some progress on a little bit later, but I wanted to make some socks for myself. And I'd been meaning to cast on Christmas socks to enter the Stranded podcast festive sock along. And I had some Christmas yarn that I picked up while I was at, I don't remember where I picked it up. It may have been, I think it was Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival. And notice I said Shenandoah instead of Susquehanna. So this is Dragonfly Fibers. It's called Stole Christmas, I believe. And it's, I'm not sure how well the camera's going to pick up the red. It wasn't photographing very well earlier, but it's a pretty dark red and a dark green with a lighter green and some white in it. So it's really pretty. I'm really enjoying the colors of this. So I have started a festive sock for myself. I'm not doing anything too special. It's just a vanilla sock. There we go. But I am making a long cuff sock for myself, which I haven't done yet. I'm a shorty sock kind of person. So this is the first time I'm going to do a long sock for myself. I was kind of inspired while doing Mindy's sock. I thought, maybe I'll try one for myself. I don't wear a lot of socks, store-bought or hand-knit. I wear my hand-knit socks just kind of kicking around the house most of the time. I am 9 times out of 10 in sandals or flip-flops, even in the winter. If there's snow on the ground, I won't. And actually, I wore like these, I'm so classy. I wore these like faux fur lined clogs, Crocs, actually, Croc clogs. So really styling, but they're really cozy and they're really warm. So I'm either wearing those or flip flops or sandals because I don't particularly like shoes. So that's what it is. So I have those socks that I am knitting for myself. I am actually knitting these on 9-inch circulars again. I picked up a couple of size 1 circulars at Flying Fibers just last night actually, because I'm enjoying knitting my sisters on them, but I don't particularly like the size. The ones I'm knitting for my sister I'm doing on a size 2.5 because that's the metal pair of 9-inch circulars I already had. I have a bamboo pair, but I don't particularly like knitting with bamboo. I really like a sharp tip, and the 2.5 size is just a little bit too blunt for me. Plus, it's not the size that I make my own socks with. I don't really know why I have a 2.5 size 9-inch circular needle kicking around. But I decided to pick up some size 1 9-inch circulars and make socks for myself because I know my own stitch count for size 1 socks, what I like to make them fit. So that's what I'm working on right now. This is what I spent a lot of my time working on tonight at my very first virtual knit night. Paige the Framer, who owns Frame and Fiber in, I don't remember the town, but somewhere in New Jersey. We have connected over Periscope. I joined her virtual knit night for the first time, which was so much fun. It was my first time doing a virtual knit night. And it was a ton of fun. So I really enjoyed doing it. I'm looking forward to doing it again. And I'd really like to seek out more too. So if you know of, sorry, flipping my shawl as it's falling down my shoulder. If you know of any virtual knit night, gatherings that might be fun to join, let me know. Maybe post it in the Ravelry group. Maybe I'll open a thread for that. So while I'm sitting here talking about it, I am wearing my Exploration Station shawl. I was wearing my sweatshirt earlier, but I didn't think it looked very good on camera. So, so I decided, the shawl's really warm and I have it and it's right here. So why don't I throw it on? So that's what I'm wearing right now. If I was smart, I would have grabbed the shawl pin that I have that is sitting on a table right over there, but I didn't. So hopefully I will just remember not to lean forward and have it fall off my shoulders. Anyway, oh, and my festive sock that I'm knitting, I am housing it in my triangular project bag, which is from Star Knits, which I also picked up from the Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival earlier this year, last month or whenever it was, not that long ago. But it's super cute. I really love this bag. It's really great for socks, and it's just got really cute print on it. Adorable. So that's my first WIP. While I'm talking socks, let me update you on the socks that I'm knitting for my sister Mindy. I am housing it in my Steel City Stitcher drawstring bag with these cute little foxes on it. And I am knitting this with Felici. Last time I showed you the first sock, which is done to the toe. I've still got to put a heel in, but that is mostly done. And then I started the second sock and have made a fair bit of progress. So I'm probably almost down to where the heel would go. Just a few more, I don't know, I'm probably 3 inches away from that. But I'm doing an afterthought heel, so I'll just keep knitting a tube. So now this yarn has been kind of driving me crazy. So it's Felici. So I picked it up from Knit Picks. The colorway is Candy Shop, I believe. And I was balling up the second skein of yarn into a gobstopper kind of ball, just because I like the look of it and it's just kind of fun to knit from. But as I was doing that, I found a knot in the middle. So the color repeats were messed up. So I've broken the skein up into a couple of different balls to get the color repeats in the right spot. I cast this on originally and I got down to, I finished the blue and I was working on the next color and I realized I picked it up from the wrong direction. So I actually had a green stripe, which if I was knitting them for myself, I would have just kept going and it would have been, opposite colors. But since I'm making them for somebody else, I wanted to make them match. So I ripped that out and started over again. So, so the second sock has been a little bit of a challenge, but I'm making good progress now. There are some weird dye saturations in this one too. Just overall, the whole ball of yarn is just not great, but I'm just dealing with it. They're not hugely noticeable. I don't think it'll be a huge issue. If she really hates it, I do have more balls of yarn, so I could just make another one. But I think it'll be fine. So that is my progress on that sock. I'm hoping to really finish this one pretty quickly. I haven't figured out quite what I'm gonna do for the afterthought heel. I'm not quite sure how to measure it to make sure it goes in the right spot and what stitch to use, because I think there's a bunch of different types you could do. So if you have a favorite afterthought heel that you'd recommend, especially one that has some helpful information on like how to measure and where to put the heel in the pattern, let me know in the comments or send me a Ravelry or Instagram message. Just any help you could provide there would be great. So those are my 2 socks that I'm working on right now. I am also working on my Zadie sweater. So this one has not made an appearance in a while. I had finished the sleeves a while ago. If you saw my row counter tricks video from several months ago, that's the sleeves of this sweater that I was working on. So this one has been in the works for quite a while. So I had started the body not terribly long ago and I just kind of put it down again. As you know, if you have watched this podcast before, I just do not particularly like miles and miles or inches and inches of stockinette. So I'm just not that motivated to work on it. Since I'm working on the body, I've got like at least 15 inches of stockinette to do. So I'm just basically forcing myself to do it because I'm really looking forward to the part where you join the sleeves to the body, and then you get to do the yoke, which has some cool cabling detail on the raglan sleeves where they they go up. So I really want to finish the sweater. It's just getting through this part. So this is where I'm at now. Let me hold it back here. So this stitch marker here, which is a little skein of yarn that Jamie gave to me at Knitter's Day Out, which was very nice of her. It's so cute. I'm not gonna hold it up close. It's just cute though, because my phone doesn't focus that well. I'll get into a story about the phone later. But so this is the progress I've made since then though. So this is where it was at when I picked it up, and I've knit quite a few inches there. So I think that what I've knit is now more than what I have left to knit before joining the yoke. So that's, some motivation there that I'm halfway through, at least halfway through what I need to knit from when I just recently picked it up. So that is the progress I'm making there. That is living in my Mrs. Brown's bags, which is appropriate because this sweater is what the grocery girls did for their summer knit along. Summer, see, that's how long it's been. Their summer knit along for their Off Our Needles craftsy show. So the yarn is the Cloudborne yarn that you get with the kit, or that you could get with the kit from Craftsy when they started it. So that's what I'm working on. It's a wool worsted weight. Heather, oh, I have one. Hang on. There we go. It is Highland worsted charcoal heather from Cloudborne Fibers, which I just discovered, and I don't know how accurate this is because I haven't actually verified it, but I was talking to someone and they said that Craftsy and Cascade basically got together and rebranded Cascade 220 for Craftsy. So that's basically what Cloudborne is. So at least that's what I've heard. I don't know if that's actually accurate, but yeah, that's kind of funny. I actually haven't really worked with Cascade 220, so I really can't tell because I don't have anything to compare it to. But yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's a wool yarn. It'll be a wool sweater. Yeah, it's okay. It's not my favorite yarn. It's actually growing on me the more I'm working with it. I didn't particularly like it that much while I was knitting with the sleeves, but it feels like recently, just as I've been working more on the body, for some reason it's just been nicer to the touch. I'm not quite sure why, but it's been nice to work with. So that is my Zadie sweater. And then my last knitting whip is my cubic scarf that I'm making for Greg. So this one is, I shared with you last time that I had made it to about 20 plus inches long, and it just wasn't working out. It was too wide, and it just wasn't gonna work very well. So since then, I have added some length. So the orange is where it was when I shared this last time, right here. And I've pretty much a little bit more than doubled it. Not too much more than that. That's about all I've accomplished. But I mean, this is what I was knitting on at the mechanics. It's what I have only picked up a couple of times because other projects have distracted me. So I think if I really focus on it, I'll be able to get it done a lot faster. I mean, the 20 inches that I had before really didn't take me that long. And it was, 33% wider, 50% wider. How do percentages work this way? With a username like Algebrina and a degree in accounting, you would think I would be better with numbers sometimes. Anyway, yeah, 50% wider because it's half of this more. Anyway, it was bigger. So yeah, I should be able to get through it fairly quickly. I just have to focus on it. I've been so distracted with so many different crafts this week. So anyway, so that's my cubic scarf. I am not sharing anything about these, sorry. I am housing it in my Fruit Steel City Stitcher bag, which I am dubbing my lucky bag. Hopefully this will be my next finished object, which is the way that these are going. I am using Quince & Co. Lark, which is their worsted weight. And it is in 2 colors that I can't think of right now. A light blue and a dark blue. I think this one's called Slate. I can't remember. Oh, my hair is all over this. Sorry. I can't remember what the light blue is called, but I'll put it either in the notes or in a little down bar or something. So that's what I am making that with. I noticed as I was editing my last episode that I say "so" at the beginning of almost every sentence. I'm going to try not to do that. My last whip is my stitching whip. This is actually what I've spent the majority of my time on. The 3 days off that I had last week, I basically, other than the time at the mechanic, I stitched, and that was it. I wanted to see what progress I could make in my year-long knit-along, or stitch-along, sorry, and, you know, try and get closer than 7 months behind. So that's what I did. I think last time I shared this, let me hold it up. Last time I shared this, I had started this panel, which is the May panel. So I finished that. It's Sacagawea and Queen Victoria. And now I've moved on to the June panel, which is my headless people here, because I haven't given them heads yet. But it's Harriet Tubman and Susan B. Anthony, who I keep having to remind myself is not Susan B. Anderson, because Susan B. Anderson plays a much bigger role in my life right now than Susan B. Anthony does. So for those of you who don't know, Susan B. Anderson is a knitwear designer, a teacher, author. She's very prevalent in the knitting world, and is not Susan B. Anthony. So I have to remind myself every time I read it. So I'm really pretty much almost done with this one. Harriet Tubman has some railroad tracks here as a nod to the Underground Railroad. And then there's a fence and a sign on the Susan B. Anthony side. And then there's the rest of the letters at the top, which I think says society. So this is going to say that women are the real architects of society. So that's the top of it. There are more panels to be done at the bottom, and that'll be the rest of the year. So I'm really excited with the progress I'm making on it. So when I shared this last episode, Alan of the Sal and Al, the Wool Slayers podcast, who I love, she commented that she doesn't really enjoy cross stitch anymore. I think she said she did it when she was younger, but she just doesn't, she's not a process person, which made me think, or had me thinking, because I would not consider myself a process knitter. I don't know if it's just that because I hate inches and inches of stockinette. I feel like if you're a process person, you wouldn't hate inches and inches of stockinette. But I don't know. So I would probably consider myself more of a product person, probably really a mix of both, but definitely more heavily on the product side. But with cross stitch, I really do love the process of it. And I think it's because of the way that I approach it. Some people, there are lots of different techniques as to how you can do cross stitch. There's like a sewing technique versus punching. There's, I think it's called posting, where you basically do a 10 by 10 grid and you do all the colors in that grid just over and over. Or you just, you do a 10 by 10 stitch grid, just throughout the pattern. But what I do, and I don't know if this is like what other people do or what, it's, just like knitting, there's no wrong way to stitch. So what I do is, I tend to I pick one section, maybe a smaller section of a larger grid, maybe it's one of the people in the month, that I'm working on. And then I do all of the stitches in one of the colors, and then I'll do the other colors. So I like to do it one color at a time in a fairly limited area. I like to keep the back of my work pretty neat. I never did when I was younger, but I find that really enjoyable now. So this is the back of my work, which I'm sure there are other people who keep it even neater than I do. Just make sure that's in frame. But so part of the challenge of doing that is that I don't like my thread to carry any further than it needs to. I really like it to stick to like one square, maybe two. And in order to do that, you really have to strategize as you're stitching the various colors. So I I really think that is enough to exercise my brain and to keep me engaged, that I really do enjoy the process of making these teeny tiny stitches over and over. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of interesting about myself. It's not really something I'd put any thought into before, so it was kind of a cool mental exercise. Yeah, I kind of think of it, and I could be way off base because I've never done this before, but rock climbers, I think that one of the aspects of the sport that people find enjoyable is you actually plan your route up to the top. That's part of the challenge, and execute getting yourself up there. So it's planning the route that I'm finding enjoyable in cross stitch. So anyway, that was a total tangent. But so that's what I'm working on. It is I've talked about it before, but it is the Fabulous Women in History year-long stitch along from Cloud's Factory. I actually found out a little bit more information on what I'm working with too. The fabric is actually called Whimsy, and it comes from a company whose name I cannot remember right now, but I'll put it down below. Somebody on Instagram commented that the fabric was really pretty, and so that prompted me to look up, it is really pretty. Let me see if I can find out what it was. Because I bought the kit. I bought the kit with materials. So she sent me the linen and the threads and everything. I don't stitch enough, I think, to really justify going out and buying the materials myself yet. To have like a stockpile. I actually bought like the stitch bow system, which if you're familiar with cross stitch at all, is a way to store the floss or thread or whatever you refer to it as, so that you can, like, having various colors of yarn or thread or for sewing, just things that you can use in other projects. So total tangent. But anyway, I'm really enjoying working on my cross stitch. The end. That's it for whips. Like I said, I don't have any finished objects. I actually really don't have any acquisitions either, other than the needles that I mentioned I picked up. I haven't really been buying too much. One reason is because my yarn budget got a bit of a hefty blow recently. So I've mentioned before, I have a dog named Millie. I've actually had her since she was a little puppy. And she is just over 10 years old. I think she turned 10 this summer. And she just got diagnosed with something called Cushing's disease. It's where I think it's a tumor in either her pituitary or adrenal gland. This is probably way more information than you need, but it produces too much cortisol. And so it affects her body and how her body's working. So we've kind of had this mystery illness for going on a year, because she was tested for it originally last winter and it came back negative. So we kind of went down rabbit holes searching for something else. But then we did a more thorough test, a longer test, and she came back positive this time. So she is finally getting treatment. Unfortunately, that treatment is $1.50 per pill, and she gets 2 pills per day. And this is a lifetime treatment. So at that going rate, that is, that's a bit of a blow to what used to be money that I could use on yarn that I'm now going to be using treating my dog, which I'm happy to do. I do love my dog, and I am happy to put her health above my hobby. But it does mean that the acquisition section will be fairly light. I do have a couple of things that are coming in the mail. One is an advent calendar. That should be arriving any day, which I'm really excited about. And then I also got, I got something else, which I'll talk about whenever it arrives. So nothing horribly exciting. I just don't have anything to show you. So no reason to talk about it now. So yeah, so acquisitions, I really don't have anything this week. So let's go ahead and move into announcing the winner of the festive. Oh my goodness, I've got the festive sock along on my brain. Announcing the winner of the hat along that I just hosted. So just a reminder, because I think I'm going to do this every year around the same time because I really liked it. We did a hat along where you could knit a hat during the month of October. It went from October 1st to November 1st. Any hat, you could knit or crochet. We did do one entry per person where you could make multiple hats, but just one post. Probably next year I'll allow entries for multiple hats or multiple entries for hats. Anyway, we'll get into it next year. But anyway, it was my first along. So, it was a learning curve and figuring things out. But I do have a winner for it. So just a reminder of the prize. It is this adorable ball sack from Steel City Stitcher. It is intended for holding a ball of yarn, in case you're not aware of what it is. It has these really cute marshmallows in a mug of hot cocoa. So it says hugs and a hot cocoa. And there is a lavender sachet in here, as well as a stitch marker and a Steel City Stitcher pin, which I have several of, and they are on my bags. So that is the prize, and the winner is Amelia Bedelia02, who is Amelia in Oregon. So congratulations, Amelia. I'm super excited that you won. Her hat that she made, I'll put it in a picture. It is a pumpkin hat that she made for her adorable little boy. And he looks so cute. So that's the hat she made, and I am super excited. So Amelia, if you can get in contact with me and let me know your address, then I will get it sent off to you. So congratulations. As I mentioned, I'm also going to do another giveaway. I'll have it open through the end of November, and then we'll have December off to just focus on, holiday prep and all of that goodness that comes in December. So what I have for you is a skein of yarn from Candy Coated Yarns, who is Dawn of the Crafty Mama podcast. This is her card, and I will focus it. So Dawn of Candy Coated Yarns. It's one of a kind colorway. It's in her sweet base, which is 465 yards, 425 meters, 100 grams, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. So this is the yarn. It is a gorgeous combination of pink and blue, and there's this little pop of maroon right here. It's just beautiful. It's a really pretty color. So this is the prize for the giveaway that I'm going to do. The way I'm going to do this giveaway, I'd like to do it as a YouTube giveaway this time. I've done an Instagram giveaway. I've done a Ravelry giveaway, 2 actually now. So this one we're going to do a YouTube giveaway. So this is really for people who actually watch the podcast. So, cause sometimes Instagram, you get people who hop on and they'll follow you, but they aren't necessarily engaging and watching the podcast and sticking around. So that's what we're going to do this time. We're going to do a YouTube giveaway. So what I want you to do is comment below on this video. I want to hear in this season, we're coming up on American Thanksgiving. I know Canada had their Thanksgiving fairly recently. We're coming up on the holidays. I would love to hear what it is that you are thankful for in this year. Something that's happened, something that you're looking forward to, something that you're just thankful for. And I will start with mine. I am so thankful. I'm probably going to tear up because I'm an emotional person. But I am so thankful for the opportunities that I've had to meet new people and develop a community through knitting this year. I used to knit. I have knit a lot more in the past sometimes. I've knit, I've gone through phases where I knit a lot, but this past year I have really had my love of knitting and crafting in general. I mean, crochet and cross stitch and spinning. Who knew I was going to spin? And weaving. I've just really had that love rekindled this year. And really it's thanks to the knitting retreat that I went to in February. I was so inspired by the ladies who were there and the time that I got to spend with them and crafting and just doing something that I'd kind of forgotten that I loved. So I am incredibly grateful for the community that I am now a bigger part of. I should also mention, I am also incredibly thankful for my husband. He is such a rock star with our kids and just, I'll say it, putting up with with this hobby of mine that takes up a lot of time and money and vacations are now a lot more yarn focused than they used to be. So so he is just a rock star. So I am super thankful for him. So for the giveaway, leave a comment for what you are thankful for this year, or from the year of 2017, and I will pick a winner after November 30th. We'll leave it open through the end of the month. I'll pick a winner for the whatever podcast I record after that date. We'll pick a winner and they'll win this yarn. I don't know why my brain is so scattered today. So one thing I did want to mention. So this yarn, Dawn actually sent to me before I recorded my last podcast. And I had a whole segment about, here's the yarn. Let's do a giveaway. I had a different prompt that I was going to do. I had it all recorded, but it was a giant pain in the butt to get my recording off of my phone last time. So I mentioned last time that I got a new phone. I got the Google Pixel 2, which was kind of cool. I do hate that they got rid of the headphone jack because there's just so many things that are annoying about that fact. But I also really hated the recording process with it. It was terrible. The recording was fine. The audio was so soft, and I couldn't connect my external microphone to it. And I was researching. I couldn't find any way to connect any external microphone to it. So there's not like something else I could buy to make it work better. And I couldn't get the files to transfer into my video editing software because the Pixel backs up to your Google Drive, but things weren't syncing. I'm assuming because the files were so huge. So they weren't showing up in the right spot and they kept failing. And so it was such a pain to be recording on it last time. So I am no longer recording on my phone, which actually I can show you something cool that we'll put in acquisitions. Total tangent again. But I got a really cool case for my phone because they do a Google Live case where you can take a picture, you can upload a picture, and they'll make you a case with that picture. So I took a picture of the socks that I'm knitting for Mindy, and I had a case made out of it. So anyway, back to my story though. It was a real pain in the butt to record on this thing. So I decided instead of trading in my old phone and it was like $100 trade-in value. Rather than getting that $100 trade-in value, I decided I'm going to hate recording so much with my new phone that I would probably end up buying something else eventually to record on. So I might as well just keep my phone that I'm used to recording on and that I enjoy the process of, going through like a removable SD card and transferring files over to my computer and an external microphone that actually picks up what I'm saying. So I am back to recording on my old phone. It was a experiment to record on my new phone and it just didn't work out. So you'll also notice you may not notice because the backdrop is pretty much the same. But I've actually switched walls in my in my room here. I am still recording this at night, so I am using my big giant lights, which I'm sure you've seen reflected in my glasses occasionally, but still much better than the reflected windows. But I didn't really want to nail myself down to only being able to record at night, which is kind of what the giant reflecting windows was leaving me with. So I've turned myself 90 degrees and now the windows are off to my side. So if I do want to record during the day, I should be able to do that without window glare, and then I can use my lights to supplement. So we are trying all sorts of new things again. It's always evolving. Someday I may find my perfect combination, or someday I may, not even someday, I may just keep changing everything. So, oh well. It is what it is. I have totally lost my train of thought. The giveaway. Oh, right. So, because it was so annoying to get my podcast up, it took me several days to actually even get the information into my computer, start getting it edited. I did have problems with uploading, but this is even before all of that. I was going to do a pretty short giveaway for the yarn. And by the time I got all of that done, half of the giveaway time was eaten up. There wasn't any time left for people to enter. So I edited out every reference to the yarn in the giveaway and decided to throw it in this week. So that's what I've done. We've got a new giveaway that you didn't even know about the one before, but now you do. And we're back to the old way of recording, because I'm sure I could probably get used to it, but it's just not worth it. So that's what we're doing. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for spending a little bit of time listening to me ramble and show you all of my fun hobbies. I hope that you have a great crafty day, and I will see you next time. Bye.